Hi everybody, welcome back to Lockdown Lessons Part 27. With me today I've got Michelle Dalley from Umami. So I'd just like to start off by saying welcome to you, Michelle.
Good morning, Phil. Thanks for inviting me.
No problem at all. So for those of people out there that don't actually know what you do and who you are, perhaps you could just explain a little bit about what Umami does and how you help people, Michelle.
Sure. So I'm Michelle Dalley from Umami Design for Food, and we're a creative design and marketing agency that work in the food manufacturing and distribution niche. So I'm often used as an outsourced marketing manager that could be retained or for one-off projects, but it's always about food, glorious food.
Lovely, thank you very much. So I suppose the best question to lead with is to start off by just asking you if we could go back to sort of March the 23rd and have a think about what you were, how your head was around that point. At what point did you think there might be a problem commercially, Michelle?
So I'm an optimist in life. I am a realist as well. So, but I just like to think things get, and to be honest, it just kind of hits. I remember being out for lunch on the Friday with a client, and we kind of both went, "Yeah, this is bonkers, isn't it? This is bonkers." And I would never have known that that was my last lunch. I would have had a much better lunch if I'd known. So I think it was that Friday, probably a week before, and all the meeting, or probably a couple of weeks before, and all of a sudden, all the meetings started to go, "We're going to do this from home. We're going to cancel. Don't come to site." That was it. It was almost like shutters coming down. But that last lunch with the client was, we were both sat there optimistically thinking, well, this is bonkers, right?
Yeah, something or nothing. I think when Italy went into lockdown, that made me sit up and take notice. I thought, it's a little bit close to home now. So yeah, it's a strange one, really. So in terms of Umami, what have you had to do to adapt to the situation that we were thrown into back in March?
So I'm a face-to-face person. I like talking to people, and so I suppose one of the biggest thing has been moving everything online. Now I've done Zoom meetings, we've pitched work across the world and all sorts of things across Zoom, Skype, whatever, video teams. So that's been that's just escalated. It's just increased. I think homeschooling, that's been a massive challenge, and having to juggle. That was a big challenge of headspace. I quite like my headspace to go, I know you're at school and someone else is looking after you, but now you're kind of here. What does that mean? So the Zoom and Teams, etc. That's been probably a saving grace, and that's been a big change for us.
Great. So yeah, I said to someone a while ago, I think we're lucky to be born in an era where we can actually use them. 30 years ago, lockdown means lockdown. There's no video conferencing. We're stuffed really, and there's very little we can do apart from use the phone, and that's got its limitations as well, as we know. So
absolutely,
very
absolutely.
Tricky. So in terms of the wins that you've seen, I always like to focus on the positive as well, Michelle, like yourself. What wins have you actually seen since we got forced into our situation?
So I think from a home perspective, it's been about family time. I'm not as exhausted from traveling, even though I love the traveling and I miss London. I miss so much of it. Time together, time to enjoy a year locally and walk the dog locally. But from a business perspective, I suppose it's been helping our customers win in different ways. And at the very beginning, after perhaps a 2-day head spin of going, oh my goodness, we decided, it was like reach out to customers, knowing that they're going through the same thing, and how can we help them? What can we do to take away their problems, their pain, or just talk about them, realize they're not on their own. And from that, we also we as a business decided to pay it forward, and we helped out various people, maybe just with some graphics or just with a bit of planning, a bit of support, and actually that really paid back. That paying it forward paid it back, and we've picked up new clients in lockdown. So I'm really positive about that. And yes, there's been many challenges, but helping people and them, valuing that and then coming to us for work has been something I couldn't have foreseen on the 23rd of March, certainly.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that I have been speaking to quite a few businesses actually who've done the same as you, paid it forward, helped people out, often with no money changing hands.
Absolutely.
And what I've tended to find, not just from my own point of view, but obviously from yours and other people as well, it does come back to you that, you know, this is a everyone sort of heard the "what goes around comes around" type type expression before, but this is actually really proven to be real. As we've sort of gone through the last few months, right?
Yeah, and I think also for me, I've always been a busy person. You know, I need lots to do, and what it also did is it helped me as well. Being absolutely honest, it helped me think, yeah, I get real value myself by helping others. So to know that I'm helping them and keeping me busy as well, that was really beneficial. And in fact, we've seen a little bit of a dip in some of our workload right now, just because of where the market's at. It's January, and I've paid it again. I've put out some reach to people to say, can I help you? With no obligation. I am not a hard sell person. I never have been at all. I'm more about attracting business. And if people decide to work with us, then that's great. But if they don't, and there's been some value added, all for the good.
Exactly. And also what you sometimes find is you might not get paid business from that person in the future, but you end up getting referred because people like you,
Absolutely.
they trust you,
Yeah.
they can see your value. So I think that's
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant. So is there any of these sort of changes that you've actually put in place during lockdown that you're actually going to carry on doing then, Michelle?
Sure. I think the Zoom and Teams, we've won business with people we've never even met, you know, because of that. So that's really valuable. I think all of my customers, our retained customers, will continue to a large degree with virtual meetings, and I think that's a positive because it's time saving. You know, never mind the amount of petrol spent driving up and down motorways left, right, and centre, but just the efficiencies. I'm much more efficient now than I've ever have been. That said, I still need to go out for lot, please, when we can.
Yeah, I think that'd be lovely, wouldn't it? That'd be fantastic.
Especially in the food industry, goodness,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's very difficult, isn't it, otherwise? But yeah, so what would you say you've learned about yourself then, Michelle, during lockdown?
I've learned that, something I've always known is I'm not very good being in the same place all the time. You know, I lived a life on the road for many years. I had a company car at 21. I was always out and about. So I have to know what that trigger of literally being locked down means for me. And so I have to manage that. So as much as I can work and adore working, I have to know that I've got to top myself up. So we're very blessed. We live in Monmouthshire in South Wales. We've got a great big dog that needs a lot of walking. So we've explored our local golf course, because the good news is there's no golfers. It's become the best dog walk ever. And by doing that and by exercising, I took up running, which has slipped a little bit, but the running, the exercising, I'm out in the woods pretty much every night in the pitch black, walking the dog with a friend. All of that tops me up, and it means that I can do a better job and be a happier person. So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, I think that mindset and mental health has never been more important than at the moment, especially with some people in some industries as well.
Yeah.
And anything people can do to change the way they're operating, whether that's by doing some of the things you mentioned, or I don't know, meditating. Some people that might be averse to it because they've never done it before, give it a go. Why not? It might help you. I think that's really important. So for those people out there that don't know exactly what sort of people you work with, who would be your ideal customer then, Michelle?
So I say food manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors. So the hospitality sector, so these pubs and bars, these 3 million people that have been working in that sector. I work with the suppliers that underpin hospitality. So they're often, so it could be a meat supplier. We work with a huge meat supplier, fish suppliers. I'd love a fruit and veg company. I'd really love to work in fruit and veg. We deal with wholesalers, so they could be importing cheeses and charcuterie, those sorts of things. So it's about food, but it's not really about restaurants. it's about those suppliers into food on the hospitality side. I've got over 30 years experience in that sector, you know, a deep understanding, but an absolute passion for it. And as I said, we all know right now that hospitality is massively affected. That has really impacted those suppliers who suddenly don't have a route to market for products. So they're going to have to come out of this strong, and that's what I'm determined to help them do.
Lovely. That's been really helpful. Thank you so much, Michelle. So for people out there that actually want to get in contact with you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave your details below in the comments. But if you could just let us know the best way to contact you for now, that'd be lovely.
Well, this is going out on LinkedIn, and I am a huge LinkedIn fan. So you'll find me / Michelle Dalley on LinkedIn. Put my name in, you might see some videos and things that I do about the food industry, but certainly send me a connection request. I'd love to connect. I'm also on Instagram because I love a pretty picture of food, and we're at Umami Food Design on Instagram.
Lovely. Well, for now, Michelle, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And yeah, catch up soon.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.